Definition, so you understand where they come from. Black's law, you said doesn't mean shit, right? You said,
or otherwise.
It's very easy to see what is put into the court decides the jurisdiction. So if they put statutes in the court is following.
It's not an administrative court.
No. If they put statutes, okay, so let's just make it simple. When you look at, if you open up a court case by a statute, is that by the common law or is it by the statutory procedure? It's only two choices.
No, there's more choices than that. There's more choices than that.
So, okay, I'll give you a simple word and I'll make it super easy. The word adoption. The adoption is completely statutory and does not historically exist in the common law at all. So is that a statutory procedure or is that a common law procedure?
Common law is nothing more than your body of case law over time. That's what common law.
Are you sure that's what it is? That's not what common law is.
Oh!
And I'll prove it to you. Sir,
Dave, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Go ahead.
And over time, your judges are tasked with interpreting statutes, and your case law will often have to interface with it. So you don't just deal with common law. You don't just deal with statutory law.
You said the word statute. You said the word statute, right? You just said statutory stuff, right? So,
Dave, if you want me to explain it, let me explain it. But
let me ask you the question so you know what I'm saying. Because if a statute is created by the legislature, does that have anything to do with common law?
It does, because it will absolutely have that, because you'll have judges that have to interpret the statutes. And then you have a body of case law over time called the common law. You don't hold them separate. They are intertwined. That's what I'm saying.
I think you might be making a small error. I think you might be.
I would say I'm not.
I'm sure you would say that, but the truth is in what the word common law means. Common law does not mean, the legislature cannot write common law.
I never said that. The legislature writes statutes. Judges interpret those statutes when disputes arise before them. That's the common law.
No, that's wrong. So let me explain to you why. If the legislature,
based on what experience, Dave, are you saying that I'm wrong?
I don't use experience. I use the actual law.
Okay. Yeah.
Can we read it? Can we read it?
Have you ever?
See, this will show what the problem is, because you're telling what your experience is, and you have experience as something, and I don't have that same experience as you, but I can read the facts. And everybody can understand what's written. So if I say something that's a lie, you guys should tear me apart if I read something that's a freaking lie.
Well, I'm challenging your understanding of statutory law.
And I'm challenging you with a word in the actual law book. And I want you to tell me if the word is lying or if you might have it wrong.
I'm not wrong. I understand it quite clearly.
You spoke of something called the common law that comes from a statutory decision from a judge. That doesn't even make sense.
That's not what I said.
A decision.
Okay. If you'll let me explain, I'll explain it to you, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
You've got different operators in different branches of government. They do very different things.
That's right.
The legislature creates statutes.
That's right.
They're law makers. They're not law interpreters.
Mm-hmm.
Judges are law interpreters. So when there is a dispute over a statute and litigants appear before the court, they will make a decision. That decision will be put into a public record. That body of law becomes the common law.
Okay.
There's an interplay between the statutory construction of the legislature and the case decisions interpreting that, which allow for precedence, which is what we as attorneys look at. And then there's the concept of stare decisis. I know what I'm talking about, Dave.
That is exactly what I'm going to say is wrong and the problem. See, attorneys are taught something through a certain lens. And I'm saying I don't look through that lens.
I know, but I can't appeal to the gospel of Dave Jose when I go into a courtroom.
And that's why
I don't get to do that.
That's why I said I'm going to use the book, because David Jose is nothing. So
what book are you referring to?
Black's Law 5th edition. It's all ripped up and
that's a dictionary, Dave.
Yes. Okay, let's not act like y'all don't use law words when you speak law things. So let's not do that. Let's not fake like, it's just a dumb dictionary now when you use it.
No.
It's in your fundamental courses. So let's not act like you don't use that.
No,
right?
we use it, but that's not how the law works.
So you use it. So it's not just some useless piece of thing I'm picking up, right? Like you use it, right?
David, I mean, I'm on here and I've listened to the arguments. I'm asking you questions that any judge.
Okay, can I read it? Can I just read it? Can I just read it so we know what it says? It's that simple. It's like the Bible. I don't need to argue with you about the Bible. It ain't about what David says or you says. Let's freaking just read the text. And if it says,
answer this question to me though, why is the dictionary any superior authority than a statute that's written, because that's not a statute.
If it's
book,
not a
dictionary.
superior authority, then why y'all using it in school? Are you wasting people's dollars?
Again, you're
You
creating.
use it for a reason, right? Everybody use books in school. If you use the book and it's part of your tools, then let's be real and say we use it and use it. If you don't use it and it's trash, just call it trash. If a statute is the best thing, say statute is the best thing, but we know the Constitution's higher. So we got to use standards in real life. We can't use theories. We have to use standards.
David, I'm being very precise. I'm being very
okay.
precise.
Can I just read what's written?
And that dictionary is not a binding authority on anyone.
Seems like you don't like the definition that I'm getting ready to give you because you don't want me to read it. You're stopping me from reading it by saying, David, that dictionary is nothing. But the dictionary is something in the college.
Guys, David, go ahead and read it.
Okay, let me read it real quick.
Read it.
Common law, as distinguished from law created by the enactment of legislatures.
Which I said.
Common law is not created by legislature. They create statute, like you said. So if they create statute and the judge is making a determination based on the statute, how in the world can he make a common law decision when common law wasn't put in?
I've explained that, Dave.
No.
And nothing that I said is inconsistent with that dictionary.
You just said after the statutory decision, the judge creates something called common law. I just read to you that common law has nothing to do with anything statutory. So if nothing statutory, okay, here it is right here.
Let me
distinguish from law created by the enactment of legislatures is something different.
Dave, guess what? The reason why I'm not scared of you reading the definition is I own that book. I own several editions of it. I understand what it is. I teach it in a class every day. All right.
So it has a use, right?
And it has a use, but it's not binding authority. So when we talk about statute,
let's make this easy. If you keep saying that, you keep saying it's not binding authority, but you're using it. So you're selling it to people, you're teaching it, but you're saying it's not binding authority. Why are we using things not binding authority?
Dave,
Constitution
there's no need to make this personal.
It's not personal. I didn't say anything bad about you. I love you.
You're saying you, and you're basically making me answer for all of your qualms with the legal profession.
I'm not making you answer anything, but what is the law? What is written? What is important? I'm asking you because you came on here and
you're giving me a definition this big to explain the body of law that's been in our country for hundreds of years that was based on a body of law that's been around for thousands of years. And what
it comes from the Bible. You're right. It comes from the Bible. We should be able to see it. We should be able to see something. See, you said we'll nail down and try to find solutions with force, stuff that works. So why can't we just say what is in here written is written? What is the highest authority is the highest authority. We could say the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land. After that is the state constitution. This is an authority. It has weight. The only way that we get messed up is when we start taking away from the power of what the trust indentures say. If we take away from the importance of words mean something. So if you have a book that you sell or you teach with, you have to use that as the standard. We have to find a standard or it can always be lawlessness.
We teach in class, but it doesn't mean anything. You didn't know the definition of common law. That's
if your affidavit strategy is so strong, why hasn't it worked anywhere?
Why were you talking about it and praising it on Liddell's stage?
Crazy.
Oh my Lord.
You have an evidentiary hearing. But it's something that will provide some heft or weight to your lawsuit when you file it.
So is an affidavit not evidence then?
Affidavit's absolutely evidence. And it's good evidence because you know that there is a consequence that is attached to it in the event that you're caught lying. And so one of the things that's pretty cool about the affidavits that we've seen for the election fraud over the past calendar year is that we haven't had one prosecution for perjury. So we've had a lot of claims by people like John Paulos of Dominion that says none of these affidavits were credible. Well, if that's the case, then why not prosecute?
That's kind of strange. I thought he said they don't work. I thought he said affidavits don't work. But here he is on Liddell's symposium stage talking about affidavits and how they can be used as evidence in the court.
Y'all gonna make me